Yeah, I walked about a mile and a half to school, and in the summertime I always went barefooted, and then I went to school that way, and in the fall. Uh, there were 3 or 4 different times I went home in the snow. It was on the ground, a couple, 2 or 3 inches, and it was a little bit cold, but then I didn't mind it too bad, and I could walk through a patch of thorn trees, and never get a thorn in my foot. My soles of my feet was the toughest. The thorn didn't want to go in them. It was like leather, and I did that. And me and my neighbor boy, we traveled a lot together, and we'd go fishing, we'd go hunting, and everything, and we walked long ways to go hunting sometimes, and we took a mill sack with us, and we'd get a deer, and then we'd cut it in two and put one half in one and one half in the other, and then we'd carry him home. So that was, and I worked on the farm. When I was 10 years old, I started plowing with the horses, and I plowed with the horses, and first year I couldn't pull the plow back and back the horses up. They back over the single trees, and then, but I did straighten the plow up and go around the field. When I come back to that place, I cut it out and plowed it up, and did that. Then when I got the field plowed, then I got to harry and harried the ground with the horses, put out whatever grain would go put out. The old man, he would throw the grain, corn or whatever, buckwheat, wheat, corn, oats, buckwheat. We raised all that, and so then we moved to Friendsville. Moved the school to Friendsville. They tore it down a couple of years after that, and Les Davies drove the bus that brought it down, and he plowed snow up over the hood of the bus to get here. So that's about the way that went. That snow was deep all winter. That snow, once it come, it never left the ground till April, 1st of April. It snowed all winter from most journey it didn't start till around Thanksgiving, and from then on till March, all March, it was snow on the ground. It never left. It just kept snowing and snowing all the time, and it just got deeper and colder. Huh?
I said, did you heat with wood? And
yeah, we heated with wood, and we'd get cold part of the time, and take the car and go get a couple stacks of coal or whatever. We didn't have no pickup. We got to get out of the car, and he'd put stacks of coal in the car and haul them home, and then we'd burn coal and wood. We did that all the time. I had different teachers. I had Chanty Friend and John Cable, Art Friend, and Vernie Savage, and I don't know, the different ones. A lot of them I didn't pay much attention to. Yeah, Chauncey Friend was he was a good teacher. He was a good teacher. And you learnt more from him and what you did, a lot of them. And John Cable was a good teacher. And Art Friend was a good teacher. And then Gilbert Davies was a teacher. And he was good, but wasn't great. Come to Friendsville, and then I had different teachers down here. And I had one that he was teaching math. And the day he started algebra, I wasn't there. I don't know what I did, but I was doing something. And I wasn't there. And I never did get algebra. So one day he was growling at me, and whenever class was over with, I just jumped over the seat and hollered, "Ha ha," and I'm going. And I never never tried to do algebra after that. And I told him I'd never need it, and I never did need it. And to this day, I could run any kind of equipment that I've seen or been on. I could run anything. Those with high lifts, gas rigs, I did it all. The train come up. I was down at Buffalo. I was only 5 years old, and my uncle lived down there, Wendell Eisendraut. His daddy lived there, and you could see all the way down to the river. And when the train come down to Buffalo, before he got there, he'd blow his whistle. Well, you got there and you looked, and you watched the train go up. So it would come up, and it'd be up for 2 or 3 hours. 2 or 3 hours at a time, maybe even a little longer, till they got done everything they needed to do, and then it'd go back down. They come up down here where the rescue squad is. Right below that, they had posts from there out to the road, and where the home is there, they had them on up, carried up that way. They had all sizes of posts, from 6 feet to 16 feet. They had all sizes of posts piled up over your head high. And they'd drop a car off here and there, and while that train was going, the next week they'd fill them cars full of posts. They was anywhere from 4 inches on the little end to 6 to 8 inches on the big end. And went out in the woods, you cut these posts. You cut a small tree down, and you cut whatever length post you was going to get out of that tree up till you got down to 4 inches, and that's all you did. I was small. I couldn't carry a post, so I had a chain, and I'd pull the post out.
Like a horse.
Yeah. I always tried to cut 100 a day. You know, money was scarce then, real scarce. And I'd pull them out to the pile, and I could pick the end up and throw them up on the pile from one end to the other. And I could keep the post pulled out of the woods. But then that's whenever things started to change a little bit. When they brought the post down to Friendsville, in the summertime they brought them on a wagon. In the wintertime they brought them on a sled. They put on whatever they think the horses could pull and handle. They'd bring them down. They'd get a little money out of them. That's all the money there was. There wasn't no money anyplace. People were poor. They were very poor. Oh yeah, we had a big garden at home. We had a big garden. It had just about everything in it. We had pumpkins in the cornfield, turnips, rudibakers, tomatoes, all kinds of vegetables. We had just practically everything, peas and beans and all that. We had a lot of it. And then we picked berries. They're the neighbor farm above us, and it was growing up. And go up there and pick blackberries, huckleberries, get 100 quarts of blackberries and huckleberries together. Some of them get blackberries and huckleberries. With Harry Friend cream can, he had 2 of them. When the one would be gone, they'd fill the other. And whenever it come back, they would thin this, and the other would come back, and then they'd fill the other one while it was going. And it would, I don't know, I can't read that, what it says. I started back to school, and I was in the 9th grade, and I started back to school and went for 2 months. There's no money, no nothing. I quit and went back to work, and I've worked ever since.
What kind of work did you do? Timbering or?
I've worked out building houses. I worked in the woods. I worked on sawmills. I worked on thrift jobs. I worked on the gas rigs, and I drove truck. I did about all.
Remember.
We bought apples down to the cider mill, and if he didn't have enough to work biggest part of the day, he wouldn't grind them that day. He'd wait until another day. He had a steam engine, what he did it with. He had a steam engine. And he'd make apple cider, apple sauce, apple butter, and apple jelly. And it was the old blackstrap apple jelly. And you put it in your mouth, and if your teeth wasn't good, it'd make your teeth hurt. It was that sweet. And then some people would bring cane, and he would squeeze the juice out of the cane and then make molasses. Trains left up there, the coal mines was done. And they had one down this way on the east side of the river, and it was up on the hill a long way, and they had a chute run from up there down to where it'd go in the cars. And they'd bring him their little buggies out, dump them, and they'd go down that chute in the coal car. And it was a McCullough mine, but it was a dirty 9 coal with 9 feet, but it had a lot of slate in it.
Oh, that's what they called the vein. The coal vein was called the Dirty 9?
Yeah, dirty 9.
Huh.
Yeah. Frankie Savage, he'd come down to see his girlfriend across the river. And I'd be downtown. After a couple of weeks, I figured out what time he left, 9 o'clock on the ball. He would head home. I'd go over there at 9 o'clock, and I'd run out and grab that standard on truck and step up on the bumper and ride up to where I'd go get off and jump off, and he'd never know it was there. If you seen one deer in a summer, you seen a lot of deer. There wasn't none. And we moved down up here, there was deer. And they'd go somewhere, they come back, there was meat on the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You take nine people, don't take long to eat one up.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes pretty good. On the mountain, as we call it, the wood burnt from Muddy Creek, West Virginia to Tang Run. It burned all the way across there. And it didn't burn one time, it burned a couple times. And going down the hill of Tang Run, he turned up the road to go to Cranesville, just went up there a little piece, and we took wood tub, deep pans, and buckets, and we picked huckleberries and blueberries, and you could take them off by the handfuls. And by 11 o'clock, we had everything filled full. They was on there, get big gobs of blueberries on them vines. Frazee and Sisler had a sawmill at Wanton one year, and it come Christmas time, and they would get finished up. The day before Christmas, he took me down. I rode them horses home, not all the way, but most of the way. From Wanton, brought them up to 219, went down 219, out the Mayu Inn Road, and went down the Mayu Inn Road. I got off and got warmed up. It was winter time, snow on the ground, 3 or 4 inches. And then went up, went up to the left a little piece there, and went out and went across the river and went through Swallow Falls Park. And then went on out to Oakland Road and Cranesville Road, and then got out there to a farm. The horses had been there a lot of times, so I got off the horses, and the horses went on home. So I got to ride the rest of the way.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cold, and I was only about 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was only about 5 years old. When
Brought the horses all the way from Swanton to
Yeah,
out to Blooming Rose.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they knew the way home after they got to Craneville. I got off of them, they could come on the road.